happy holidays and welcome to the Wise Guys. Dave McCann, Blaine Fowler. This is the greatest show on the planet, the largest BYU sports live stream show anywhere. Presented by Brady Plus, distributed by the Deseret News, and watch for our new podcast wherever you get your podcast. That will be out tomorrow. What a night. What a show we have.
Yeah, so much fun. Hey, make sure you subscribe for a free email. On wiseguys.com. So you go to the site, subscribe to get that email. You can also, when you go to the site, you can look at all of our past content, every guest we've ever had on the show. I was showing somebody it today on my phone, and I'm just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. They go, wow, you've had a lot of guests. And I go, yeah. And that list of guests is awesome. Also, what we'd love to have you do is hit that free subscribe button. If you're watching us on your YouTube channel, make sure you hit that as well. All of those things, everything we're asking you to do is free, and it helps us continue to roll with this show. We're glad to have everybody in on the chat tonight. So
let's set a record on the chat tonight.
Yeah,
everybody listening on the live stream, jump on there and tell us where you're watching from, and we'll try to give you a shout out. There's the Philippines already, Northwest Missouri, Saratoga Springs, Utah. Good evening from Cary, Idaho. Go Cougs in the Alamo Bowl. Want to remind you, Wise Guys is thrilled to have Brady Plus as our title sponsor. Brady Plus provides cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment, dispensers, and service and repairs with over 150 distribution facilities across the country, over 6,000 employees. The president is Travis Brady, a BYU grad and a friend of our show, and we love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And Deseret News is now our distribution partner. Deseret.com, Utah's newspaper since 1850. Watch for our content on all of their social media sites. As we serve Cougar Nation from all over the world, we're grateful to have Deseret News on board as our distribution partner.
Here's what we got tonight. The BYU's going to a bowl game. Kalani Sitake has a contract extension, and we're going to hear from the coach coming up here in just a couple of minutes. Looking forward to that.
Yeah, and how about former BYU coach Bronco Mendenhall? Yeah. Going to be back in the state of Utah as Utah State's new head coach signed a 6-year contract to hopefully return the Utah State Aggies back to glory.
My kids, as you know, are Aggie grads, and they're saying, hey, Dad, how much time are you going to spend on the show tonight talking about the Aggies' new coach? I said a little. Mm-hmm. We're not going to get crazy. We'll talk BYU hoops. They're 6-2, a game on Wednesday night that you and I will be on the call. Travis Hansen's going to join us in a few minutes, talk about the lessons learned so far. And we're going to ask him about AJ Dybantsa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, of course we are.
What a developing situation that is. Josie Bishop is also going to be with us and talk about this Steve Vail fundraiser she's got going on GoFundMe. Steve's our longtime volleyball analyst on BYU TV and fighting cancer, and he's not winning. And so she wants to send him to California, back to his hometown for one last blast, and so she's raising money on a GoFundMe page, and she's going to come on the show later tonight, and we'll just talk about this service opportunity and why it's important to her. But the topic of the hour, AJ Dybantsa, the nation's top recruit for basketball, is going to announce his decision tomorrow morning on ESPN's First Take at 8:30 a.m. Mountain Time. His finalists are BYU, North Carolina, Alabama, Kansas. For the last few months, all the pundits have leaned towards BYU, but you never know with an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
National basketball analyst Jeff Goodman tweeted today to his 323,000 followers, quote, "My guess for Dybantsa, BYU over Alabama."
Which is interesting because when you think of true blue bloods in that list of 4, the 2 blue bloods are North Carolina and Kansas. And hey, Kansas invented basketball, for Pete's sakes, right?
Yeah.
And so BYU and Alabama is a football school, but they've been really good in basketball the last couple of years. And BYU is like, they're a newcomer to this whole, hey, let's get lottery picks to come in and sign. And now we're talking about, first you get Egor, Demin, and you get Kanon Catchings. Mm-hmm. And those are huge. Those are projected first-round draft picks. And there've been talk about Egor being as high as number 3 in the draft next year. Now you're talking about the guy that's the number 1 overall recruit in the country who's projected the number 1 pick in the NBA draft in another year.
Yeah.
What is going on?
Just think tomorrow morning, if it actually happens, where Dybantsa announces BYU on ESPN to the basketball world, how big that will be for Kevin Young and what they're trying to do. And he's a one-and-doner. Everybody knows it. But there will be others that follow. And remember, they already got the 7-footer coming from Nevada who chose BYU earlier. And has signed and is on his way for next season.
The elite defender.
Yeah.
The pieces are coming together, and we're watching this young group for BYU basketball kind of grow up together. They had a little bumpy road last week. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a bit, but the talent is there.
Yeah.
Like Egor Demin is the best player on the floor every night. Period. When you just look at pure talent and upside,
and he's coming off.
That doesn't mean he doesn't go 0 for 10.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
That doesn't mean he doesn't go 0 for 10. But he is clearly, when you see him, his ability with his length and his athleticism, his ability to handle the ball, his vision of the court, his ability to shoot. Yeah, he had an off night. But, LeBron had off nights and Michael had off nights too.
Yes, they did.
But he's clearly the most talented player on the floor every night. And now you bring Dybantsa in. Can we convince Egor to stay one more year and those two play together?
I don't know. Egor's in the top 5 now.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Travis Hansen's going to join us in a few minutes, and he's full of information with great stuff in his insight as a professional player, as a BYU player. We love it when Travis comes on, so that's coming up in just a bit. Great Falls, Virginia's on the live stream. Roseville, California, St. George, Utah, Nebraska, Bountiful, Utah. Keep them coming.
Yeah,
let us know where you're at.
There are already some questions, and I don't know if we want to address them right now, Dave. Or they're asking about Crew Wakely in the portal. Earl Carr's asking us about Isaac Wilson. Would he make his way down here? It's interesting. Typically, when you go in the portal, you're looking for a place where you go and you're immediately the starter.
Yeah.
When you're in the portal, that's not like Isaac Wilson would come down. Would he be willing to sit behind, and back up for another year before he played? Because Jake's back, right?
And who's to say he beats out Hillstead and a couple of the others.
And then Bourget is also really good.
Yeah.
Like BYU is loaded at quarterback right now. And so he may not love that. He may want to go to some place where they say, listen, like we got a graduating guy. We saw you play this last year. You're the guy. So, that's a tough one. BYU's not out shopping for a quarterback right now in the portal.
Springfield, Virginia on the live stream, Layton, Utah. We're just seeing you as you punch in real time. They're right in front of us. So
yeah, Linda Murray, who's always in every week, says, how awesome would it be if AJ announces to go to BYU tomorrow?
8:30.
Very awesome.
8:30 Mountain.
It would be very awesome.
The Alamo Bowl. Speaking of awesome, I love this matchup. Number 17, BYU at 10-2. Number 23, Colorado at 9-3. Saturday, December 28th. BYU Sports Nation Game Day is at 3:30. 2 hours of coverage on BYU TV and ESPN+. Cougars and Buffs at 5:30. That's prime time on ABC. They get prime time in prime time.
That's right.
The post-game show following on BYU TV. How do you feel about that?
I love it. My first thought was, really, we're going to play somebody from our own league? Yeah. And then I realized that Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback's not going to be around next year.
Travis
Hunter's not going to be around next year. It'll be I don't know if Dion will be around next year.
Right.
Because there's talk of him with the Dallas Cowboys, right? Yeah. So it might be a very different Colorado team. So why not, with all the hype, they'll bring a lot of eyes to this game because they're national. Prime, Coach Prime's done a great job of bringing national attention there. They're coming off. I mean, if you want to talk about a butt kicking,
oh, yeah.
I mean, they kicked Oklahoma State all over the place. And, of course, Oklahoma State came in there with all kinds of crazy. Was the coach going to come back? Was he not going to come back? Was he on the hot seat? They were a train wreck at the time. But 52-zip is their last game. They beat the living crap out of Oklahoma State. Can I say crap on our show?
Yeah, you can say that.
So, because that's what they did. Interestingly, though, the week before, that hot Kansas team beat them 37-21. Actually beat them worse than Kansas beat BYU.
They got issues.
Yeah, they're very good on the offensive side of the ball, very, very dynamic. But defensively, they have a penchant to give up some big plays, and Kansas scored 37 on them. They beat Utah the week before, 49-24, and Utah is just struggling at quarterback and still scored 24. So
it'll be interesting. But one thing that it will be is the most watched bowl game that's not in the playoff.
Absolutely.
Bar none. So I love it. Saturday night on ABC on the 28th. It's at BYU's finally back in bowl week. They're finally playing a game after Christmas for the first time since 2013.
Yeah.
And they're in a game against a ranked P4 team for the first time, since Kansas State in the Cotton
since
Bowl?
96.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And a game that is of national relevance with two national name teams that at BYU at one time was in the top 10 this season.
Yeah.
So
let's get after it. I think it's going to be awesome. Kalani Sitake addressed the media today, his weekly first of the week news conference, and it was all about the bowl game. Had a little bit on his contract. He said he was just happy to get that done. Not a lot of details on it, but as far as the game, here's what he said. Let's listen to a couple minutes of Coach Sitake from a short time ago.
Really excited for this week and excited about knowing our destination, our opponent. Obviously, had an opportunity to be on a Zoom yesterday and talk to the officials at the Alamo Bowl and connect with Dion, with Coach Prime again. And so really excited about the matchup, watching their film now that we know. We've been watching quite a bit of their stuff and seeing all their games, and so impressed with their talent and the way that they just played. I mean, they are a very talented team, and they're so explosive in so many different ways. Offensively, they can make you hurt. I mean, the quarterback is a special player. And obviously, they have one of the best football players in all of football, playing them, going both ways, in Travis Hunter. So, but when you focus on those guys, they do a lot of really good things. But the entire team is talented, and you see the way that they progressed throughout the year, playing really good football. I think their defense doesn't get enough credit for what they do. I think sometimes people get overshadowed by the spotlight that goes on those individuals, and rightly so. But when you watch the film like we watch, you can see that there's tons of talent on that team and a lot of dangerous weapons that Coach Prime and his staff can use. And they've made some really good plays, man, and they're in a really good spot, and that's why they're ranked. So we're excited about the matchup. Obviously, we know that this is going to get the best out of us. I'm really excited about what this can do for us in the future and what it can do, to help springboard us into 2025. But it's also really excited about the seniors, outgoing players that are going to the next level and graduating, and to have a quality opponent like Colorado and to play in this game and in this awesome bowl game in the Alamo Bowl. So we're really excited about it, and we're looking forward to going out there in San Antonio, having a lot of fun and playing this game. So, but also looking forward to the practices and the meetings and the improvement that we can make in the program between now and game time on the 28th.
That's Kalani Sitake. I wrote a story today in the Deseret News. Remember the Alamo? The Alamo is like 4 miles away from the Alamo Dome. You can check that out at Deseret.com. Great opportunity to go down there. There's so many BYU fans in Texas. We know that because so many are on our live stream, but BYU has had a strong presence in the Lone Star State. Fresno is on the live stream. Hey, Fresno, good to have you with us. There's Montana with the Mackies. Let's do the Cougar Board question of the week.
Sure.
Right here. We're going to throw a lot of information at you in the next few minutes before we bring Travis Hansen on. If you're not familiar with Cougar Board, the largest online community of BYU fans, thousands of posts every day, and this one comes from Laser Coug, one of their insider subscribers. Thoughts on the Big 12 tiebreaker? As you know, it was Iowa State and Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game. It was a total bust. Arizona State blew them out, but it was a 4-way tie for first, and those two got in. Here's the question. Thoughts on the tiebreaker formula? Would you like to see divisions or a different tiebreaker, or stay within the status quo? BYU did not play Iowa State or Colorado, but they just missed on a smidgen of point system to Iowa State, and that's why they didn't go to the Big 12 championship game.
Yeah,
what do you think?
When you have a conference that's got that many teams, 16 teams, you're going to have a bunch of teams that don't play each other.
Right.
And the fact that they had 4 that only lost 2 games during the season was an interesting one. I don't know if that'll ever happen again, but they used a win percentage against non-common opponents, which I don't know if that's the right. Like, obviously, I think it's the wrong way to go because BYU didn't get in.
Yeah.
If BYU got in, I might think it was the right way to go. And so, because you go common opponents, but if you have the same record against common opponents, and then you go down the line, that's the next factor. If they went strength of schedule or strength of wins, I think BYU would have been in it, right? Just like they're ahead in the polls, in the college football playoff polls. So, and anytime you don't play everybody in the league, there's got to be some type of a system. That you remember when Utah kind of backed into the Rose Bowl or into the championship game a few years ago?
Yeah.
And we were all going, wait a minute. Can you even explain to me this tie-breaking system of how that goes in? But they went with what they chose before the season started, and everybody agreed on this. So we really can't complain about it on the back end of it. I think divisions would be good, where you play everybody in division, have some crossover games. Yeah. Then you have a division champ, and they play each other. Everybody's gotten away from it because the SEC.
Yeah, because all of a sudden you get a lousy team in the other division that skews the game.
Yeah, the SEC.
Big Ten has run into that too.
Yeah, like the Big Ten, like all the good teams are in one division, so they kind of just ended it and said, hey, let's just have the two best teams play, even if it's a rematch.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's why they're doing it.
Yeah,
we'll see.
I honestly, to me, it's fair as long as you decided before the season what you're going to do, and then you got to go by it. They didn't make it up at the end of the year, and so we really don't have room to complain on it.
Ken's on the live stream from Mexico. Howard is in from Anchorage, Alaska. Orem, Utah, just up the road. Good to see Orem, Utah represented. Cedar Park, Texas, outside of Austin, just up the road from San Antonio. Phil saying, hey, which side of the field or section is best for BYU fans? We got to rep the Y. The Cougars are the visiting team. I don't know what side of the field that makes sense.
So are we going to wear – I hope they wear the white jerseys with the royal helmets and the white face masks and the royal trim and the royal pants.
Yeah, that'll look good.
That's my vote.
That's a good look. We'll keep you posted on that. Check the bowl site to see which side is the home team, but BYU is the visiting team. The final college football rankings, here they are. Oregon's 1, Georgia 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4. Penn State played Oregon much better than I thought they were going to.
That surprised me.
Notre Dame's at 5, Ohio State at 6, Tennessee's at 7. Then it's Indiana, Boise State, SMU's at 10, Alabama 11, and Arizona State 12. And Alabama didn't get in because Clemson, who's not ranked in the top 12, won that game, and so they got in.
Right.
And that left Alabama on the outside looking in because SMU got in at the at-large spot. And, Alabama's not happy, but it seems fine to me. I thought SMU had Clemson on the ropes, but there will never be a consensus on that. If you're dealing with the SEC teams, they want more of their teams in.
The SEC thinks if all their teams lose 4 games, they should still have 5 teams in the college football playoff.
Exactly.
And so I have no problem.
And I like the matchups.
And the fact that Clemson won, I would have had a problem had Clemson lost. Because I didn't think Alabama deserved to be in there.
Yeah, and they would have got
And
in.
I think the Pac-12 was way underrated all year long. And so the fact that SMU lost and stayed in, that was okay with me. And bumping Alabama out was fine with me.
Yeah.
So
I love these first-round games. It's Indiana at Notre Dame. The winner plays Georgia. SMU is at Penn State. The winner plays Boise State. I would have put Boise State at 4 and moved Arizona State to 3.
Yeah, I would have.
Just because of...
To me... The schedule, the Boise State, again, we go back to what people are still talking about in the chat. If it was strength of schedule, BYU would have been in the Pac-12 championship game. Yeah. But you got to look at strength of schedule for college football playoff, and that was supposed to be one of the big factors. It's clearly not if Boise State's ahead of Arizona State on that.
Tennessee's going to play at Ohio State. The winner will play Oregon. That'll be a good game. Clemson's at Texas, and the winner will play Arizona State. A lot of folks said, hey, that's good for Texas. They get to beat Clemson and then Arizona State. But, man, Arizona State is red hot.
Yeah, they're flying high
Their
right now.
Their defense is playing tough, and they're going to play and they'll get a couple weeks rest.
And can anybody tackle Scadaboo? Here's the thing. I watched the film before BYU played him. I go, man, nobody can tackle this dude. And then we're not tackling him, and we're all sitting there going, why can't they tackle this dude? And then I just watched last week's game, and I'm like, well, nobody can really tackle this dude. So maybe we're just in the same boat as everybody else. He is something special right now, and he is playing at an elite level. So good luck to anybody that plays Arizona State stopping them.
We're going to break down the Colorado game much better in much greater detail next week with Brandon Doman. He's going to be on Wise Guys next week. The Big 12 bowl season, 8 of the 16 teams are in the postseason. And there's some okay matchups, but each one's going to get a bunch of money, and then they get to divvy it up, and there's a lot of cash coming.
And I'm not sure how the Big 12 – I was trying to find this, and BYU's like in the old Mountain West. The team in the bowl got half of the bowl of what you got paid, and then you divided the other half up with the whole league.
Yeah, we'll have to find that out.
So you got a half and a one whatever share, and we'll have to find out what they're going to do. We'll find out by next week. So we'll give you a whole preview on Shedeur Sanders and Hunter and Weston and all of that stuff. I'll just say this. This is a teaser for next week. Shedeur Sanders has completed almost as many balls as Jake Retzlaff has attempted. That's how much this team throws the football.
I love that BYU secondary is the strength of that
and
group.
BYU is one of the top pass defensive teams in the country. So it's going to be strength against strength. It's going to be fun because they throw it all over the place. BYU likes to pick it off. Lots of chances for that.
Yeah.
Although I'm going to say Shedeur's thrown 35 touchdowns and only 8 picks.
He's pretty good.
Yeah. So it'll be really fun. Let's go through this bowl season and the Big 12. December 17th, the Frisco Bowl will feature West Virginia and Memphis.
On the 26th, it's the Rate Bowl, Kansas State, who really fell off.
Yes.
They're going to play Rutgers out of the Big Ten.
And then December 27th, the Liberty Bowl, Texas Tech versus Arkansas.
The New Mexico Bowl, which was the last bowl BYU was in, TCU is going to go play Louisiana on the 28th.
Also on the 28th is the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Now, this is one I was kind of rooting for.
Right.
And it's number 18 Iowa State versus number 13 Miami. And I wanted to play Miami because I want to debunk that the ACC is good.
Yeah, and you just don't know if Cam Ward's going to opt in, or opt out. He's going to the NFL, and that was a question mark for Miami. Also, the 28th, prime time is the Alamo Bowl, BYU and Colorado. It's the Big 12's highest paying bowl at $8.25 million.
And remember, the Alamo Bowl got the first pick of the Big 12. So
they said, I want these guys.
Yeah, outside of Arizona State, who is in the college football playoff, the Alamo Bowl said, we get the first pick. We take BYU. So that's something to hang your hat on, and it shows the respect that the Alamo Bowl has for BYU with the ability to play. And then Colorado is in because of their affiliation with the Pac-12. You have to have a Pac-12 legacy team this year, next year in that bowl.
Yeah, that's jacked up, but that's how it's going.
So on December 31st is the Texas Bowl. That's Baylor and LSU. That'll be a good one. Baylor's hot right now.
Yeah, and then the Peach Bowl is January 1. That's number 12 Arizona State against the Clemson Texas winner. Had Arizona State been a 3 seed, they got into the Fiesta Bowl. It's right there.
Yeah.
And they could have filled that stadium with their own guys. So instead they're going to
they get the winner.
Atlanta.
I would much rather have the winner of the SMU Penn State game than the winner of Clemson and Texas.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Texas is going to run them out, and then they're going to play Texas.
I thought Texas was going to beat Georgia the other night. You got to score touchdowns.
Yeah.
Too many field goals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, the good news is the bowl season starts on Saturday.
Can you believe
this
it?
week.
I'm glad we're not playing in a bowl this Saturday, but the Cricket Celebration Bowl, that's Jackson State against South Carolina State. That's at 10 a.m. on ABC.
You bet it
There's
is.
going to be football between the NFL and college football from now until the middle of January.
The Salute to Veterans Bowl is Saturday night on ESPN. That's Western Michigan against South Alabama. Western Michigan is the team that Zach Wilson threw his perfect game against.
That's right.
In the Potato Bowl. And so those are the first 2 bowl games. They're on Saturday, and that gets us going. The AP Top 25 final poll before the college football rankings came out, and they had Arizona State up to 10, BYU 17, Iowa State 18, Colorado 20, and Kansas State out.
Yeah, and they just have tailed off at the end of the year. So we mentioned earlier, but we'll talk just a little bit more about it. Kalani Sitake with an extension to his contract. Interesting that they announced it was it 10 o'clock at night?
It was like 10 o'clock with no details on a Saturday, which made me think somebody's offered him a big money contract.
And they had to do something.
So, no one's expressed that to us, but it has to be something like that.
So they signed Kalani to a contract extension, keep him at BYU, and in quotes, I'm saying quotes, well into the future. That's according to Athletic Director Tom Holm. We haven't gotten years on that. I'm going to do a little fishing. I'll probably see Kalani this weekend, and I'll
find out what that
I'll try to get the details on it. I will say this. I talked to Kalani a few weeks ago, and he was looking for an extension because when you're out recruiting, you want to be able to tell, especially if you're recruiting LDS kids,
sure,
I will be here for your whole career. So, which means, you can go on a mission next year and come back, I'm still going to be here. So you always want the BYU coach to have that stability in recruiting to say, I'm going to coach you. We're going to be here. And so I feel like it's going to be at least that, right?
Yeah, and we know that he's also going to pay his staff to try and keep him.
Well, that's the other thing that he has talked about a lot, and that is Kalani, just so everybody knows, and this is so, when I say it's so Kalani, you have to know Kalani well to understand this. Kalani really doesn't care about making one more penny. He worries about longevity so that he can recruit and win recruiting wars and get the kids that they want. And he worries about taking care of his staff. And right now that staff is terribly underpaid compared to their peers in the Big 12. And so I know that he wanted an extension. And as part of that, he wanted to have some guarantees that he had a pool of dollars to take care of his coaching staff and his staff. So coaches, graduate assistants, analysts, that staff that actually puts the product on the field. And in this last couple of years, BYU's added a lot of headcount to all of the support functions, to recruiting, to the sports information office and public relations and social media and all of those things. And Kalani's like, okay, good, we've got the infrastructure now. Now we need to pay our guys so we can keep the guys we want to keep. And so I know that was top of mind for him as he went into this negotiation, or as his agent went into this negotiation. And I'll get more details on it when I can and share with you.
10-2 in his second year in the Big 12. Alamo Bowl, piece of the conference championship. That gets you a new contract.
Yeah. And I'm right. In 2025, BYU finally gets a full share, right?
Yeah, this next year.
Yeah, so that's a significant raise in the revenue that comes in from the league for BYU. It's double.
Hope it trickles down to the wise guys.
Yeah, it should. Absolutely.
The coach will be inducted into the Polynesian Football Hall of Fame on January 18th at a ceremony at the Polynesian Cultural Center in Laie, Hawaii. Kalani's the first FBS head coach of Tongan descent. And he said to be inducted in the same year that Moana 2 comes out is an honor.
There you go.
So there's 3 former Cougars already in the Polynesian Hall of Fame. Kurt Govea, Vi Sikahema, and Reno Mahe. Now it'll be Kalani Sitake.
2 teammates of mine, and Reno, who's a dear friend, and then Kalani, who's a dear friend. Yeah, it is really pretty amazing. So I love that. That sounds like a Kalani quote. In the year that Moana 2 comes out. How about Kalani and Coach Prime and their kind of love fest back and forth on media day?
They appreciate each other.
They really do. And I love that. So there's 2 coaches that highly respect one another. They're going to go at it here in this Alamo Bowl, which makes it even more fun.
Hey, we want to congratulate BYU Director of Football Athletic Training, Brett Mortensen. Today he was named the College Athletic Trainer of the Year by the Utah Athletic Trainers Association. And you know what? He and his staff kept the Cougs healthier this year than any year I remember.
I cannot remember, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And Brett's near and dear to my heart. He helped get Gavin back on the field. Gavin had back-to-back ACL reconstructions in back-to-back years, hurt in openers. Wow. And he got him back on the field and played in like 30 straight games after that with those reconstructions. And Brett and his crew are part of rehabbing those kids and getting them back on the field after they've been hurt. So
Dave George is the new football general manager. He's a lawyer, background in sports law. His job is going to be to deal with revenue share distribution, which is coming up this year, help students manage the funds they're going to get, NIL, fundraising. He's a former BYU rugby player, so you know he's tough.
Yeah.
And so he's gonna be the general manager. So that'll allow Kalani to do coaching and the general manager to do the business side.
Well, and you have a chief of staff, which is John Swift. So John runs all the football related stuff, right? And Dave George now will run all the business side of what they're doing with all of the funds that are coming in and how they're distributing it and negotiating, NIL deals and negotiating all kinds of things. And isn't it interesting? You have to have that. It's like having a GM in a professional franchise. And remember, Kevin Young immediately came in and said we have to have a general manager and hired one. So he kind of set the tone. And now BYU on the football side gets the same. Excited to have Dave George. You have to have that. You have to have a bunch of business minds in your organization now to be able to run and function in today's world.
And we'll certainly have him on Wise Guys and explain how that's all going to shake out. All Big 12 performers voted by the coaches. No coach could vote for their own player. Caleb Etienne, left tackle, first team. Is there something about the left tackle spot?
Let me tell you something. That is one of the best stories that we haven't said that much about.
Right.
Because you go back a year ago, and everybody was wondering, was he coming back? Would he even start at right tackle? Seemed to be a little bit confused at times. Wasn't living up to his potential. And I'm telling you, TJ Woods comes in there. He figures out the teaching method to reach Caleb Etienne. He settles in. He understands exactly. He moves to left tackle, and he was phenomenal. What a great story.
Yeah.
And what a difference a year makes for that guy. And
now he's your first team All Big 12. Now you're on the NFL board.
yeah, now you probably get drafted.
Yeah. That's awesome.
It's really awesome.
Will Farron, kicker, first team, also the co-special teams player of the year.
How is Will Farron not going to be a first team All-American?
Yeah, he should win the Lou Groza.
Is there a better kicker in America?
I don't know of one. There's some good ones, but he's made 13 in a row.
Yeah, and he's like, what is he overall? It's like 23 of 25
Something crazy.
or something. I can't remember.
And he beat the Utes on a 44-yarder.
He is just money, and he doesn't get, like, he's the best kicker in America in my opinion.
He's a junior, which is great.
Tyler Batty, I just saw in the gym the other day with Elaine and his wife. They're out working out together on their off week. Defensive end, first team All Big 12.
That was a little surprising.
Yeah, I think Tyler will get drafted as well.
That was great for him. Jacob Robinson, second team. Defensive back Keelan Marion, special team, second team. He had a case for first team.
Yeah.
8 others were named honorable mention. And so it was pretty good. You go 10-2. This is what you get.
Yeah.
You get stuff.
And did we predict any of those guys? Tyler Batty was the only one that was predicted to be on any one of those teams. And BYU certainly wasn't predicted to be 10-2 this year. No. So what a great year that was.
That transfer portal opened officially today, and BYU safety Crew Wakely jumped in it, so he won't be at the bowl game. Doesn't mean he won't come back.
Right.
But I was kind of surprised to see him jump in.
Oh, Cody Epps went in last year and came back. Tested the waters.
Yeah.
Right?
So you can test them, but that one surprised me. But nothing surprised us more than Bronco Mendenhall. Today introduced as the head coach at Utah State. He was at New Mexico this past season, Virginia before that. He won 99 games as BYU's head coach. His deal with the Aggies, 6 years, that also surprised me. Remember, he was out of coaching. Then he got back in to revive New Mexico, and then he signed a 6-year deal. How does that change things in Logan and around the Beehive State?
First of all, it is a coach now that understands how to operate in the state of Utah, how to recruit the state of Utah, how to recruit the Intermountain West. And he also has a reputation of being a guy that can come in when there's maybe disarray, is that the right word for it?
Yeah.
When there's all kinds of
total
problems
disarray up there
on and off the field,
yeah,
and can stabilize it. Because he will have high accountability. That is what he is known for. He will come in and they will immediately have high accountability. And they'll go get players. They'll sift through the ones that are currently there that want to work in a high accountability culture. He'll go get players that want to be in a high accountability culture, and he'll put it together. They'll be consistently good up there. And it might take a year or two because that's a tough. That thing was just falling to pieces this last year.
And how about this? Kalani Sitake, Kyle Whittingham, Bronco Mendenhall.
Right.
The 3 big schools in Utah all have active members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and they're all BYU guys.
All BYU guys. Well, Bronco played at Oregon State, but he coached.
But he coached here, so that qualifies him.
And all of them coached here because people forget that Kyle got to start as a graduate assistant at BYU.
So anyway, that's cool. That hasn't happened in our lifetime.
And how about Jason Beck, who left New Mexico? This is before Bronco announced he was going to Utah State. And became the offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach at Utah. Jason Beck, former BYU quarterback.
Great hire for the Utes.
Oh, I think it's a good hire. And so now you got the offensive coordinator at Utah, the head coach at Utah, both BYU guys.
Right.
Bunch of BYU guys up at Utah State, a bunch of BYU guys at BYU.
The sign says enter to learn, go forth to
guess
serve.
What? There's some BYU guys at Weber, there's some BYU guys at Southern Utah, and there's some BYU guys at Utah Tech.
I let my kids know, hey, look, we're trying to help out.
Yeah.
We're just trying to help other people.
Just do what we can do.
Beaumont, Texas is on the live stream, so is Pleasant Hill, California. Our first guest tonight's a familiar face on the Wise Guys, former BYU and international basketball star, mentor to many, including the Cougars Russian phenom Egor Demin. A pleasure to welcome Travis Hansen to the Wise Guys. Travis, happy holidays. Good to see you.
Hey, what's up, guys? How are we doing this beautiful December? Merry Christmas.
Hey, what's your favorite part of the this time of year? What's your favorite part about it? You know, it's the holidays and you got football and basketball and that stuff, but Christmas time, what's your favorite part about it?
Well, our family gets the opportunity to help other families, so we get to go and do some good, which is always awesome. We actually partner with United Way, and we're able to go see some families. They're actually in Utah off American Fork, 500 East exit, where government housing is located, and so a lot of these single moms have husbands that are in prison or have left them, and so they're starting over, and so we get the opportunity to go serve, and it's a unique opportunity in our life throughout the year that we get to serve others, and it's kind of more prominent. The giving machines are always pretty awesome from the Church of Jesus Christ, and so probably that. I do like that my wife loves to decorate. She loves Christmas.
Oh yeah, mine does too, Travis. Is there a favorite? Do you have a favorite Christmas gift that you got, or a Christmas story that you remember? I've known Travis for a long time. Like Travis's dad is one of my favorite people, and I even spent a little time with him on a boat at Lake Powell way back in the day with Travis's pop. So, anything you remember, like a favorite gift you got, or a Christmas morning story that's in your mind as you approach the Christmas season?
Well, my favorite all-time gift is Knight Rider.
Oh, yeah.
I remember. Yeah, do you remember that thing?
Oh, yeah.
I remember going down to the Christmas tree, and one of the boxes was making sounds, and I was super excited. So Knight Rider, I got the Knight Rider car back in the day, all-time best gift. We just love spending time together as a family. I love our Christmas Eve dinner, honey baked ham, cheesy potatoes, this raspberry pretzel salad, and then she does this punch, like ice, pineapple cranberry with Sprite.
Yeah,
it's delicious. So I'm a foodie, so I like stuff like that.
I remember my
over presents.
Yeah, I remember one year I got an electric football set that changed my life.
Like the kind where you just line the guys up and they go,
the vibrating
and they
board
just run
and all
into
that
each
stuff.
other.
Oh,
Yeah,
I started calling games the second I opened up that thing.
That's awesome.
It's funny how when you open something up as a little kid, there's the magic and all that stuff, and then some of it shapes your life.
Yeah.
If someone gives you a football, you start throwing it, you go be a quarterback.
Yeah, I had footballs in my bassinet that I started with. I got a Batman and Robin outfit, so I got both outfits.
Depending on what mood you're in.
No, because I could go play with a neighbor kid, but they would always be like, "Can I be Batman?" I'm like, "No, you're Robin. I am Batman. I was always Batman." It's like, "No, I'm Batman. You're Robin." So, but I remember getting the two outfits, and we'd run around the neighborhood in our Batman and Robin outfits.
It's an awesome time of year. We just love it. Hey, it's an interesting time of year, especially this week, Travis. The nation's top-rated recruit, A.J. Dybantsa, announcing he's going to announce his decision tomorrow morning at 8:30 Mountain Time on ESPN's First Take. BYU, Alabama, North Carolina, or Kansas. What do you think it'll be?
I mean, I think BYU. I think BYU is the best place for him to develop quickly. He wants to be a one and done, wants to be here 9 months and prepare for the next leap in his career. So I would assume he's done a thorough job with his parents and family of looking at his opportunities. And I'm biased, but I think BYU is the best at developing these young men to play professionally. There's a reason Egor Denham's here.
Yeah, if he does do that and announces BYU on ESPN tomorrow morning, and it's great for him and for what he's looking for, what does it do for BYU moving forward?
I think it shows the confidence people have in Kevin Young and the staff. I think it shows the relevance that BYU is as a program and as an institution organization. And I mean, if you can land the number one recruit in the nation, you can go find anybody. So it'd be a big moment for BYU.
Does the experience that Egor's had, and it's just a little bit of time, but he comes over as one of the top-rated recruits in the world, and he's considered a one and done. You're close to Egor. He comes to your house every Sunday, and I know you've advised him a bunch. Does his experience so far influence whether AJ picks BYU tomorrow or not?
I think it all stacks on top of itself. I think seeing him come and a international up-and-coming, star who was at the best club in the world with Real Madrid. I mean, it doesn't get any better than Ala Madrid. And so his decision to come to BYU and then to see the success he's had and to see how fast he's progressed. I mean, he's put on 15 pounds of muscle. Mm-hmm. What the BYU program and staff has done with him since June till now, I mean, he's a much better player. The progression is relevant. You can see it, and so I think that's a big deal for AJ. But again, AJ is going to make his own decision based on his own development, based on what he thinks, regardless of what someone else has done or just because it's Egor he's come here. And I still think he's going to choose BYU.
As a former NBA guy and European star as you watch that, and if he does, it does take the program that you were part of to a different place. It's just never happened before.
Yeah, I mean, it's just changing. Like everything's changing. I think, to some degree, when we were there, we thought too small. I think Kevin Young's thinking bigger. I think getting into the Big 12 makes your perspective and mentality grow, and what you believe and think you can accomplish grows, and your confidence grows. And so I think it's been a blessing for the football program. Basketball, you can see the track and field programs continue to excel.
Yeah.
When you're in the WCC and you're competing against the SEC, the gap mentally, and media is a big part of this, but the gap mentally is huge. You just think, man, if it's an upset, it's constantly a Cinderella story. Now you're in the Big 12, it's less than a Cinderella story. It's the media and the confidence and the people that you're around, teach you and talk about how you should compete. And so you expect it. And so a lot of it's perspective and expectations.
This team, the BYU team this year, I know you watch closely. We'll see you there on Wednesday night. Dave and I are calling that one. We'll know you'll be where we know you'll be where you normally are.
We know where your seats are.
We know right where you're at. So BYU 6-2 so far this season. Couple of rough ones on the road. What do you like about this team so far?
I mean, they can score. I mean, it's a potent offense. What are they averaging? 80 something, 80, 84, 85 through 8 games. I mean, they can really score, and they have a ton of talent. They're really long. They're lanky. They can get out in the passing lanes, and they got basically a unique skill set at every position. And so they're young, and they're new. And basketball, along with other sports, takes a minute for all the pieces to come in, and you're putting a puzzle together. And the late addition, from the IR of Dallin Hall is, smoothing. We're trying to smooth things out there. But I mean, the main thing is just defense. I mean, they're probably giving up 100 points a game, or they're probably. I think they're ranked. What were they ranked? I saw 97th. They're not giving up 100 points, but they're ranked close to the 100th best team in the nation as far as defense, and they're giving up 67 points. So it's just too many points. They got to lock up, they got to guard their guys, and they got to look at some different strategies to stop letting these guys get to the rim.
They certainly have the length and the athleticism to be able to be good defenders. So what is there something you can put your finger on where it's like, hey, they have got to get better at this if it's going to be a good defensive team, or is it just a mindset?
No, there's different things, details you can work on. I'm sure the coaches will break it down film to see where they're getting hurt the most. A lot of it in basketball, as I got older, it was angles. When offensively, when you're pushed out and people press you, and it's one of the tactics you can do defensively to get the offensive player off their game. Instead of catching it free throw line extended, you're catching it up, above the NBA line, and your angle's off. So a back door is not necessarily there anymore. The angled pass at the top of the key is like a down pass instead of an upward pass. The corner is really not open. Your ability to attack a guy if he does shade you one way or another is, instead of one dribble to the basket, is 2 or 3 or 4 now. And so there's just a lot of little details like that they can hone in on. And if these kids can pick up quickly, they'll improve.
Former BYU star Travis Hansen's on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, distributed by the Deseret News. Couple of questions that I've been really looking forward to asking you since we knew you were coming on. It's been a long time since the Providence game. Egor went 0 for 10 from the field. Kanon Catchings went 1 for 8. These are 2 highly touted 18-year-olds. So what have these young kids learned through these first 8 games? And now they've had almost a week since the Providence experience before they can get back out there and go after somebody else on Wednesday.
It's funny to talk to them. They're almost kind of in a fog. Right after the game, they just don't know what happened. They shut off their Twitter accounts, and they have really good hearts. Like a couple of the players I talked to, kind of hurt their feelings to what the fans were saying. Providence fans towards BYU. And these kids are not members of the Church of Jesus Christ, and so when they say something derogatory to Mormons. They actually were just shocked that families or people had to endure that. So there's a mental thing there. We basically, to a large degree, got pushed out, and we got punked a little bit. And sometimes when you play East Coast teams, you play new teams, and you play in a away arena, you're shocked at how aggressive and how physical they are at the beginning. And you're shocked that they're actually making everything they shoot. And basketball, in like most sports, is the game of momentum.
Yeah.
It's going to come back around as long as you play the game the right way. You saw it with Kentucky against Gonzaga. Gonzaga punked Kentucky. I mean, they were down whatever it was at halftime, but Mark Pope has a little bit more veteran group. I mean, that what was that number 7 that was just killing Gonzaga? They're 6'11" guy from Wake Forest. I mean, he's like a 6-year senior.
Yeah.
He's been around these games, and he's been around. He knows you just got to put your nose in and push back on angles and push back on where you pick up the ball. And so most of it's just a learning curve. They need to be in more games like this. And that's a little bit of it could be a debate to don't play soft games at the beginning of the season, because you hide what you're not good at. You hide what your true weaknesses are. And when you just have a nasty schedule from the very beginning, like Mark Pope and Kentucky's have had, you can't hide. You quit. You learn a little bit quicker. And when we're playing some of these softer teams or not as good as teams at the beginning of the season, it tends to hide some things.
We talk about Kanon and Egor future. They come with a tag like, hey, these are NBA guys. These are first round draft picks. How should fans process their development? Like, what's a healthy way to look at it? Because people are just like, well, they're NBA guys, they should dominate. Like, they should score 25 a game and get 10 boards. But that's not reality. They're 18-year-old kids. What should the fans expect out of these guys?
I think it's pretty shocking they're as good as they are right now. I mean, you forget he's 18 years old. Do you know any 18 years old in high school? Like, they're kind of seniors graduating that could step up and start and average 16 and 7 and 6 or whatever they're averaging. 18, 11 and 4.
It's crazy. It really is. So
you were pretty good at Mountain View. I will say you were pretty good there with the Bruins.
The difference between high school and college is quite the jump, though.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. I think having some patience in their development, a long-term view on these young men is probably the best stance for a fan, and just enjoy watching, a painting unfold, a beautiful painting. It's kind of like your kids, it's so fun to watch them unlock new talent and new features. And I say features, I'm like talking software over here. My features. I'm a software guy.
Yeah.
Eddie.com.
Yeah, there you go.
To unlock new abilities or new skills, it's just fun. So when I'm watching Egor this summer, I'm like, he's a little frail, he's a little skinny. I think he's going to have a hard time with some of these angles and get to the paint, holding guys off and overpicking. And he didn't. Like, that's the last thing he had problems with. He was definitely strong enough, and he could anyone that can drive off a left-hand pick with his left hand, jump from in between the free throw line and the block and dunk it. You're like, yeah, you don't have a problem with that. You look like you're pretty good. The problem is playing at a consistent pro type style and adapting to different arenas, which is a big deal. And at some point, different basketballs with different tournaments. Yeah. Sometimes they'll make you play with, and just different physicalities. So if I was a fan, I'd be enjoying it. I can't believe that we have that type of talent here, and let's see what they can do with them throughout the season. We're early on, and early signs say they're pretty incredible kids.
Did Egor get his driver's license taken care of yet? He was
telling
hoping
us about
to get that done after the Providence trip. Is he on the road? Is he loose and free with his license yet?
No. What do we do? So Saturday night, I had a bunch of stuff, and he came to my son's game at Springville Friday night. And And then Saturday he had practice. And him and I went and picked him up, and we worked on parallel parking and U-turns and three-point parking or three-point turnarounds and parking up a hill, parking down a hill, all the fun stuff you do with your kids.
Yeah.
And then today he did some driving. So he'll take his final test Friday and get his license Friday.
Fantastic.
Which he's super
awesome.
Super excited about.
Yeah. That makes him what do you get? I mean, you're not an American citizen, but you get an American driver's license. What is it? Does it look like everyone else's? Just look like a Utah driver's license?
Yeah.
It's a good question. I hope so.
With your phone number on it in case there's a problem.
So here's the question, right. Just like, and I promised them, I promised Egor and his girlfriend I wouldn't talk about him on the air ever until they told me I could. But so what does he do when he's going on a date right now? Does she have to come over and pick him up and take him on a date right now? Or does he's not saying, hey, Travis, can you drive me on a date? Like, what's he doing to go on dates right now?
Are you saying he has a girlfriend? Are you saying he's seeing somebody?
That's what he's leaning on, right?
Travis,
there.
let's not pretend that we don't know this.
We're not naming names.
We're not naming any names, but let's not pretend like
his mom just started finding out. His mom's I'm on a phone call tomorrow with his parents.
I was talking to him like, no, Blaine, don't say anything until later. And I'm like, okay. So I'm not saying anything. And I think it's great, by the way.
So wait
and
a second.
I love them both.
You're on the phone with his mom talking about this?
Yeah.
Oh, she just barely found out about this. She had to find out about this from someone else.
Yeah.
So
and
she wants to know details.
I know you're with me.
She picks him up.
Okay, she picks him up, which is awesome. And I know we love them both. They're both amazing kids. And one day we'll talk about it if it all works out. But I was wondering, like, who she probably has to come over and pick him up for a date. Right?
It's like an international. It's an international scene.
Yeah.
When she comes over.
So anyhow, he's and by the way, he is, and you know this better than anybody. He, like Brenda, my wife, had a chance to visit with him for a while. He is a great kid. Like, he is an amazing young man. In addition to being a phenomenal basketball player, Brenda was talking to him about how he likes Provo and that, and just sitting and visiting with him after a game. And he was talking about how much he loves the environment, how much he loves the people associated with BYU and his teammates. And he's just this 18-year-old kid with a huge heart that is a really, like, his parents should be really proud of the way they raised him, wouldn't you say?
100%. Yeah, he's different. Social awareness, off the charts. His ability to fit in to almost any situation, his maturity for such a young kid, and his ability to problem solve, and living on his own for 3 years and away from his family with all the different things happening in Russia and all the hardships. And his parents are phenomenal people themselves, and they've done a great job of just communicating and surrounding him with really, really good people. He's been surrounded by people that I would surround my son with throughout this process, but he's just built different, to be honest. I think some kids just come like that. My oldest son, Ryder, is prepping. He's hoping to take the LSAT and get into law school, and my wife says he's more mature than you. He's just built different. He's just capable. He's like everything I wish I was. He's just got all the good DNA. We'll hope some of the other kids get some too, but Egor got really good DNA, and he's made really good choices. And he's actually a sensitive kid. He's got a good heart. He actually cares about people, and he's very thoughtful. When you can kind of get in this, it's all about me mindset, that people are, noticing you when you're out and about, and you start to think that you're better than you are. He's super humble, and that's rare.
A few more questions with Travis Hansen before he reveals his 5 most challenging arenas that he has ever played in over his career. And I imagine some are going to be from overseas that we've never heard of before, but that's coming up in just a sec. Hey, after the game last week, you tweeted, quote, "Energy is everything in basketball. It impacts effort, execution, momentum, and team morale, deciding the outcome of all games, especially close games." So where does that energy come from? And when you don't have it, what can you do to get it? Can a timeout? Is it a timeout enough time to get it? Or when we're watching these games play out and a team lacks energy, where do they go?
Yeah, this is an interesting perspective that I've, developed over the course of my years playing. And this is my perspective, just
Yeah.
as a player. Energy is foundationally necessary to compete. If you don't want to compete, you don't have the energy. So whatever that takes, taking care of your body, eating the right things, getting the right sleep. Um, some of it's a process to prepare for this game. But once the lights are on, and once you step over that line, that corner, part of the court from the locker room, if you can't flip on a switch that you're different, that you're not, put the nice guy in your pocket, and you got to compete, uh, uh, you're taking a chance that the other guys will, and they'll run you over. And the games I've gotten ran over and embarrassed were the times I didn't flip that switch mentally. And so it's a mental thing. As much as I talked about it being an energy thing, it's a mental thing. And so mentally, if you are not locked in and ready to compete, then it becomes contagious. But if you are, it also becomes contagious. And if you're not locked in as a team, it's up to the coach and the coaching staff. And so that's why you see some coaches just go bananas
Yeah.
sometimes, because they're trying to inject, that or they're trying to flip that switch on their whole team so that they'll compete. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So hopefully you're doing it all in practice and teaching them how to flip that switch, and when it comes time to mentally compete. And you could tell against Providence, we didn't have it. Dawson Baker had the flip switch, and that was about it.
Yeah. Interesting. Good insight.
Yeah, Travis Hansen's on the Wise Guys tonight, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and ysguys.com. So glad to have him here with us. So now we've got Fresno State Wednesday night, which Dave and I are calling, Wyoming up in Salt Lake City, and Florida A&M at home before Big 12 play begins on December 31st when Arizona State comes into town. How important are these games to get things figured out?
I mean, they're important. It's part of the process. If it was early on, Rob Cuff, Mountain View High School, my old high school coach was just really, really good. One time he wrote this little dot in the left-hand corner of the whiteboard and then drew a big old X up top. I said, "What is that your goals?" Because you should be constantly, something just special happens to you when you're mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually focused on a goal. Well, you usually get whatever you focus on. The problem is sometimes you get distracted, you don't focus on anything, and then you don't get anything. And so when you're looking up at that up the right goal that you want to get, it's preparing these guys to play for a conference championship, and then prepare for the NCAAs and March Madness. And so, yeah, these games are super critical to gather film, gather data, and find out what your weakness is and improve it. And you hope that once you gather that data and watch film and you show that all five guys are not boxing out the all game long, not one person checked or boxed out, and that's why they had 8 extra shots or 12 extra shots and you had so many turnover, whatever those data points are, that you only have to go over it once. And then the next game, everyone boxed out, but now we can move on to whatever else that we're trying to work on. And so hopefully this next game, the data points that they're showing, that are weaknesses, not only individually to these players, but also collectively as a team, that they can improve on those. And I would assume defense is going to be a big one, and defensive rebounding.
Mm-hmm. Travis, what's it like for Kevin Young to make this adjustment? We talk about players making the adjustment to this level of basketball, and he's making this adjustment coming from the NBA, where he was for a long time. And we watched him get frustrated on the sideline against Providence and yelling at the refs, wondering how in the world a certain call was made or wasn't made. And it's new for him. He's a coach, so I think we all just expect him to have done all this before. How new is this for him as he makes his own adjustment process?
I mean, he's been at it a long time, so he definitely has a ton of experience. He's surrounded by an incredible staff. His guys I really respect. I mean, Will Voigt on defense is really, really good, and Tim Fanning on offense, and I'm sure Kevin Young's have pieces of those too. But the rest of his staff, Brandon Dunson and Burge and And I'm probably missing some other guys.
Well, there's like 30 of them. So,
we looked down and
Yeah,
like, do they have enough seats for the coaches now? Wow.
Yeah, like, dang. He's got some great people. So, yeah, he's adapting and he's trying to, figure out his personnel and who he can push and who he can't and how each one needs to be coached a little bit differently. But I know individually they're watching a ton of film with these guys, which is huge, and they're spending the time necessary to help them. So, Kevin Young's a stud. He's so good and he's so smart and he's surrounded by great people. And so now you just got to realize that, even the top teams, end up winning 80%, 70% lifetime. And so you're just going to have some losses here and there. And those are great times to figure out what you can improve and dive into the details and make those adjustments.
Before Blaine finishes with a football question, Linda on the live stream says, hey, does Travis think about having all those pro scouts at the game was a factor in poor shooting? So let me rephrase that question. When you went to a game and you had scouts coming to watch you, did it affect you? Could you just block it out, or did you know that you were under the watchful eye of a whole bunch of people that could impact your life?
Depended. I mean, I'll share one story. So I leave the NBA, Atlanta Hawks. I go to Spain, and I'm terrible. And one of the different things that they do in Spain compared to the NBA is when you catch it, you can take a step and then dribble here in America. Over there in Europe, you take a dribble, then you can step. And if you don't do it the way they want it, it's a travel. And I had a hard time because I'd never been taught that. Yeah. And so that was one of the things that got in my head. So you can see how things get in people's heads, whether it's just scout in the arena or your girlfriend's not there, your mom's not there on time, and you're worried about them, or you're traveling and you get mad at the refs. The mental part of the game is everything. And Luis Scola, my team captain, one of the best teammates I ever had, so good at everything he did. We went out to eat. One team, we went out to eat after every game together, and it was because of Luis. And he said, just what could you do to impact the game? Like, start tomorrow. What could you do? And I'm like, I don't know. And he said, I think you could be the best offensive rebounder on our team. And, I was a starting 2-3 guard. Maybe I thought I could score. I could D up one of their best players. He noticed that it would be offensive rebounding. So I started there. That was my foundation. So the next game I had 13. I think I had 13 offensive rebounds.
That's good for a team. That's good for a team to have 13 offensive rebounds.
Yeah. I went psycho and had 13 offensive rebounds the next game. And I didn't worry about anything else rather than just seeing how I could add value and build on that block. And it changed the course of my career because I found out later that the team had been calling my agent and had been thinking about cutting me.
Really?
And they had brought another guy in, 6'5", strong, big dude. His name was actually Robert Conley. Robert, a shout out to you out there. And I played so well that game they actually cut him and kept me.
Oh man.
But he was a great player, and it came down to, are you going to perform on the court or not? And so, yeah, a lot of those things can affect you mentally, and that's what we were talking about before is mentally, are you prepared to compete and compared to and can you add value? The media and all this stuff's so weird now because everyone statistically is just propping up points and rebounds and assists. Yeah. And so it's only normal that these kids focus on that, and hopefully the coaches can teach them. 95% of the time you don't have the ball in your hands, and there's a billion different ways to affect the game other than scoring.
It's interesting. Dave and I were meeting with Kevin before a game just a couple weeks ago, right? And we asked Kevin, that particular night at the Marriott Center, there were going to be a bunch of NBA scouts, and we said, how does that affect Egor and Kanon and all these guys to have these guys in the building? And he goes, well, it shouldn't. We've had 8 GMs and 72 NBA people at practice the last 3 weeks. Like, there's somebody from the NBA at practice, including general managers, every single day. So I don't know why it would affect them more in a game than it does in practice when they're more up close and personal. I thought, that's an interesting response by Kevin Young that he hopes it doesn't affect him in a game since those guys are around every day. When they're around every day, does that get kind of like, okay, I guess I can't really focus on that. They're here all the time. I just need to play.
Yeah, I think every practice I've been to, there's been scouts and head of basketball, president of basketball operations, and some of my old teammates that are out there scouting and texting me and asking me about Egor and Kanon and everybody else on the team. What mentally affects you more is the travel. It's the being away from family. It's the fatigue mentally. It's the shoot arounds and being able to really enjoy everything that comes with basketball, not just the game. And then once you're in the game, when you get punched, there's the first guy that comes up and just rocks you defensively, or when you're 0 for 3 from 3, or when they're 6 for 6 from 3. How do you collectively make those adjustments? And it takes some time to know what levers to pull. Okay, they're 6 for 6 from 3. We need to make them put the ball on the floor. Or they're 6 for 6 from getting to the paint, to the rim. We've got to body check them and make sure they can't get to the rim anymore. And so you have to make those changes in real time very quickly when you're playing chess and playing basketball. And that's what we're not great at. And you saw it at Providence. We didn't make those adjustments quick enough, and they were able to run away with the game. And so Egor, he's 0 for 3 from 3. Well, what should he do the very next possession? Obviously not shoot a 3.
No, yeah, put it on the floor and get to the free throw line or go score, right?
Yeah, I'm talking to him, after the game. I'm like, you're posted up on the side, and you're waiting for this clock play to go, and the guy who's guarding you is 5'11". Go put him in the rim. Really? Yeah. Go put him in the rim, bro. Like, go take him to the basket. You're 0 for 3 from 3. Don't shoot another 3. I tell my kids, if you're 0 for 2, the very next play, you better make a play for your teammate or get to the hoop, get to the rim. And so he needs to be more assertive, more aggressive, and that comes through these experiences.
Good stuff. All right, Travis, how important is that contract extension for Kalani Sitake and the football team moving forward?
Oh, it's important. They've been working on it. I mean, Kalani deserves it. That guy is he represents BYU in such a complete way. Yeah. He's so good, and he's learned so much. He's become a way better coach when he first started too. And it was a big deal to extend him. I'm sure their staff, and lock them all in and show them, give them confidence in what they're doing.
All right, 5 questions is presented by Strategy Square, delivering connection, clarity, and confidence in business and marketing strategies, owned and operated by a BYU alum who's helping the wise guys conquer the world. You can reach Chantal at strategysquare.co. The 5 most challenging arenas you've ever competed in.
That's right.
You ready to lead them?
Because we've done 5 questions like the old school way.
We've already gotten this.
So we had to give Travis something else to think about. So let's start with the 5th, Travis. We'll go 5 through 1. And we'll finish with the most difficult arena you've ever played in. So what's the 5th most difficult arena you've ever played in?
The 5th one?
Yeah, because we're gonna go 1 through 5. These are the 5. And if that's too hard, if it's too hard to you can just throw 5 out there and then we can rank them afterwards. But what do you think? Which is the best way to approach this?
The 5th one, the 5th hardest place I've played. Laramie,
Wyoming.
The AA, the Arena Auditorium.
What is it? The Arena Auditorium? Yeah, Laramie, Wyoming. I mean, high altitude, the traveling logistics.
And they were so nice.
And when they were good, their fans were brutal, right?
Yeah, they were brutal.
They were brutal when they're not good.
Yeah, they were weird because they played so good at home and so bad on the road.
Yeah.
So when they came to us, we would beat them pretty well. But when we played there, it's like they all had superpowers. And that was a tough place to play. Nobody ever wanted to go to Laramie. No. Fewer hotel options, dining options. It was tough.
Hey, I've probably broadcast 30 games from there. Yeah, that's a hard place to go broadcast to get to.
Okay, so Arena Auditorium's number 5.
Yeah. How about number 4?
Number 4 would be Maccabi, Tel Aviv, Israel. Famous for passionate fans, electrifying environment. They posed a significant challenge every time we played there. It was the culture. Israel, flying there and getting police escorts and dogs that are always around and tons of police. It just felt a little more threatening. And then they always had really, really good teams, very well coached. David Blatt and those guys were really good.
I wish I could remember the names, but 2 players from the Tel Aviv team were on a cruise with Brendan and I this last summer.
Oh, yeah?
Over in the Mediterranean. Yeah, 6'9" power forward and a 6'5" shooting guard. And they were very, very nice guys. So,
well, hey, Travis, when they're talking trash to you in a foreign language, do you feel the trash talk as opposed to understand exactly what they're saying?
Yeah. Well, the first time I was in Europe, I saw a guy spit in the other guy's face, and I thought, that's the most trash talk, rude, mean thing you could do to somebody. I'd never do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, the language was actually funny. I don't like to swear, but when I swear in Spanish, I feel less bad.
Feels okay.
Yeah, it feels less bad a little bit.
Right.
Okay, so we've got Laramie, Wyoming, and Maccabi. Is it Maccabi? How do you say it?
Maccabi Tel Aviv.
Yeah, okay.
Israel.
What's number 3 then?
CSKA, Moscow, Russia.
Oh.
High caliber home team. Great fans. Turned off the lights, and their intro into their fans was super intense, and all those Russian soldiers lined up. Freezing cold, tough to travel there, and they always had great teams. Like super tough to win there.
That sounds like a Rocky movie.
Yeah, this is like what I love about Travis is this like international, right?
He's been there.
Yeah. So number two, toughest arena to play.
I don't know how you go from Moscow to. I don't even know what number 2 could be.
Well, he goes from Israel to Moscow. Now, what's 2?
I mean, I would say Baskonia, Vitoria. It's a lot like the Jazz, where the fans really know hoop. They understand it. They're on you. It's a small arena. It's a little bit like Duke, where you know they just can really affect the game. They're like the 6th man. So it's in the Basque Country, northern Spain, a team called Baskonia, where it is tough to play. It's a really tough play.
So northern Spain, okay. And then number 1 toughest arena you've ever played in.
Number 1 is Panathinaikos in Athens, Greece. And the problem with these guys is no one knows the difference between soccer and basketball over there. They bring the same type of enthusiasm and fireworks and water bottles and toilet paper. And so when you are warming up, they cover the floor in toilet paper. They're throwing M80s, so you have the protection over your over your bench as the fans throw stuff. It got so bad one year that a fan broke a plastic chair off inside the arena and beat another fan to death. And so the very next game, we actually played in an empty arena with no fans because they were so psycho.
Wow.
An incredible place to play. Great fans and sometimes violent fans. Always a police escort in and out of there.
In and out. That's like you went to war, right? You did time.
We went from Laramie, Wyoming. Yeah. What's great is that Laramie, Wyoming made the list.
Yeah,
right?
it earned its way in.
I was thinking about the U.S. NBA teams, and they're all
it's all pretty tame, right? It's too corporate, right? So he goes right to Laramie, Wyoming, and then we go to Israel, Moscow, northern Spain, and Athens, Greece. Bam, 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 bam. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know what, Travis? We could ask anybody these questions and they'd reel off 5 American arenas.
Yeah.
Do you just sit back and think what this game of basketball took you in your young life, because you're still relatively young, but man, look where you've gone shooting hoops.
Oh, it changed my life. It changed my family's life. The culture, the people, the food, the things we've learned. It's been such a blessing. Yeah, some of my best friends. I got the opportunity to go back in September and visit some of my teammates in my old clubs, and it was so fun. They just embrace you too. They just, when you go back, it's like going back to your mission. They're like, Travis, vamos chico, bienvenidos a la casa. They give you 2 kisses and you stay out till 2 a.m. eating jamon and queso. And
so, how many languages, Travis, can you converse in? Russian,
Spanish,
obviously.
Russian, English.
Spanish, Russian, English. So you got
my Russian's okay. My English is okay. My Spanish is really good.
So he's better in Spanish than English. So
he's got a command.
So
hey, that's just awesome. Thank you so much for your insights, and we love having you on this show because we learned so much. And you've been on so many adventures, and we know how good of a mentor you are to some of these guys, especially Egor and all the people in your world over there in that part of Utah County. So we salute you, wish you and your wife. I'm glad you didn't take your wife to any of those games in those arenas. So that she's still with us today.
Especially not to Athens,
yeah,
Greece.
None of those. Or Laramie for that matter. Just none of that.
We've been to Laramie with you. I've been to Laramie with you.
I think she's been to all of them but Laramie.
Is that right?
So, wow.
Hey, happy holidays. We'll see you at the game on Wednesday.
Merry Christmas, you guys. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Travis.
Travis Hansen, one of our favorites and one of the toughest players. We talk about flipping that switch. When he flipped that switch, he took games over.
And here's the thing, it's like the thing you remember about Travis was he stepped over that. He stepped onto the floor and from that corner, and then you got to flip a switch. He did it every game. Like he had that mentality that he didn't. I never remember a game where Travis didn't play hard and didn't come ready to play and be physical and do all those things.
And when he took us through those 5 arenas, you could.
Isn't that cool?
The way he described it, he brought us there. I feel like I've been to all. Well, we've been to Laramie, but I feel like I've been to all those other places.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Great stuff. So BYU Fresno State Wednesday 7:00 Mountain on ESPN Plus. You and I and Spencer will be on the call there.
Right.
And then Wyoming. Speaking of Laramie, BYU's not going to Laramie this year. They're going to play in the Delta Center on Saturday night.
And I have no idea why you and I aren't calling that game, but we're not.
Well, we're not.
So.
Hey, our next guest is a long-time good person, just like right from the start. She's put together a GoFundMe account for our BYU TV colleague and longtime volleyball analyst Steve Vail. Steve's nearing the end of his fight with cancer, and time is short. So a thoughtful neighbor, Josie Bishop, decided to do something about it for the family. And it's our pleasure to welcome Josie to the Wise Guys tonight. She got us involved. And we said, hey, why not come on to the show? And thank you for waiting. I know Travis was in the middle of some grand adventures, and so we're sorry to get to you just a little bit late. But how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
We're good. We're good. Blaine, Josie, Blaine.
Hi, Josie. It's nice to meet you. So
you too.
we're so glad that you're on with us. It's not something fun we're talking about, but what you're doing is fun and hopefully provides some joy in the life of this great family.
And as we talked about this project, we thought, hey, let's have you on the Wise Guys. And maybe you were a little reluctant at first, but we're glad that you got through it so that you could join us. Maybe Nick helped coach you up. But tell us about how you got involved in this project for the Vails.
Well, it started in the summer when Steve found out he had cancer again. And the Vails are neighbors of mine and they're good friends. They're just the best people. So everyone around us loves them and wants to help support them. So his cancer got worse in the summer. It had spread. I guess the backstory is he had cancer 8 years ago and it was brain cancer. He overcame that. And anyway, so this summer it came back again. And we watched him fight through that. There was procedures and treatments done that, sorry, it's kind of, it's an emotional story. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of all over the place, but there had been GoFundMes leading up to this one that I'm currently trying to do for this big Christmas miracle for the Vails. But Jen had come over to my house. It was last week before Thanksgiving. And we were talking and she had just gotten the news, I guess, the day before or so, that Steve had several more tumors that came back. He's had one in a vein, and the doctor told them that if it bursts, it would be catastrophic. And as she was telling me all of this, she is amazing. She is a saint, and she is a fighter and just is doing everything she can to keep everything together. She's got, 6 kids to take care of, and I mean, she's just a little warrior. I don't know how she does it, but she had said her and Steve had been talking, and she really wanted to surprise Steve and take him somewhere. Their son Josh is getting home from a mission this coming week. His farewell or welcome home is on Sunday.
And they have 6 kids, right?
They have 6 kids.
Okay.
Oh, let's see, 5 daughters and a son that's been serving in North Carolina on LDS mission.
Right.
So he returns this week, and they have a daughter, Ryan, that is playing volleyball in college, and she will be home as well during the Christmas break. So Jen just mentioned, oh gosh, it would be so amazing to be able to go together as a family and um, create some lasting memories and to just enjoy each other and spend time together. Kind of with time being so precious and the latest news, um, you know, has yeah, the latest news was not good, and I think that's still all being processed, but um, she, yeah, she just kind of threw that out there and said, he loves California. He grew up there. And I had transferred her some money from the GoFundMe she had prior.
Yeah.
And she was just like, oh, I wish I could take this and do this for my family or for Steve. And, but I could totally see her point, when you're in a situation like that. And they are so grateful. I do have to say that for and from Jen. They're so grateful for the amount of help they have had and, the community rallying around them and supporting them, for through all of this. And um, yeah, so I totally understood what she was saying when she was describing how she would love to do this, but how can I take this money and go on a vacation
Yeah.
when people are helping us, right?
Right. So you get this idea, and DJ's going to put up the GoFundMe account. So you get this idea, hey, let's raise some money because you want to send them to California for a memory maker. And we're showing it now, and we're going to encourage all our listeners and viewers to participate in this if they can, because we're already past the halfway point in your goal of $12,000. What do you want to do? What do you want to send them? What do you want them to do in California? What's your grand mission here?
Well, there is a story about them trying to go to California. I don't know if we have time for that or if
Sure,
you want
go
me
ahead.
to hear that. So I didn't realize this. Jen left my house, and I love magic. I love Christmas magic. I love miracles. Like my dream, as since I've been a child, would be to work for Make-A-Wish. I mean, I just love seeing people's dreams come true. I believe in, fictional characters and magic and all those things. And so I got this idea. I'm like, we are going to create this Christmas miracle and try and send their family. I got it started. I had spoke with you about it as well, which I've appreciated the help with that. But I told Jen about it, and she was just beside herself, just so emotional and grateful. And she said, that is amazing. She said, they had Jen had tried to take their family on a trip to Disneyland after Steve's first battle with brain cancer. So she told me that, while at the time was not a funny story, it was totally horrific, and everything that could possibly go wrong did. But she kept telling Steve, if you make it through this, if we get past this cancer, his fight with brain cancer, we're gonna use our tax return and go to Disneyland as a family. Which she said they laugh about it lightheartedly now. And she feels, I know she feels kind of silly because at the time it wasn't like something they could really afford, and they had, 6 children.
Yeah.
So they, got in their Suburban, packed up their 6 kids, and I guess the Suburban was old or had some mechanical issues, but they got to, I believe, Las Vegas, or a little bit past Las Vegas, and their Suburban broke down.
Oh no.
Yeah. So she had already paid the money for tickets, hotel, all those things, right? So Suburban breaks down. They have to call a tow truck, and a tow truck comes to pick them up. And she said their whole family was riding in the Suburban, hooked onto the tow truck back to Las Vegas. And I mean, she said that they were up high, they could see, everybody down below in the cars and, kind of like waving at them. But, her and Steve were just mortified and didn't know, like, what are we going to do? So they went to the rental car place. She had to ask a friend to help loan some money because they already were in a bind.
Yeah.
They did get a rental car. They made it to California, and the hotel was horrible. She said it had bed bugs. She had tried calling Disney, she said, to see if they had like a cancer package, because she was just trying to do anything she could to make it affordable for her family to go. And anyway, yeah,
it didn't work out. That's what it sounds like.
With that, but it was an adventure. It
Yeah.
was dramatic and everything. But she said, looking back, like she said it was pretty funny. So after I heard that,
memorable, but not the right kind of memories, right?
Right. And I mean, I've been there. I mean, I've gone places where I thought was going to be great, or maybe I shouldn't be going because I should be spending money on bills or these other things. So I totally, related with her on that. But I think it's funny now that their family can laugh about it now.
Right.
But
it just makes. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, but this time, it's gonna go perfect, right?
Yeah. This time we're gonna do it.
This time we're gonna send them down, and it's gonna go perfect because of what you're doing. Are you involved in the planning for the trip and all that to make sure that it goes right?
Well, I don't know.
Sounds like you probably should.
Yeah, I think you should be.
I do have a friend who has been trying to work on Aggie Nation. Come on, Aggie fans, we need your support. She's been working with some people in Logan trying to get some donations as well. And we have a group of friends with Jen that we're all trying to help, I guess, figure out some of the details and things, but I don't really know. I just started this, and I've never made a miracle happen before, so
we're working on it, and we're going to tell you, Cougar Nation makes miracles happen
and I'll tell you,
folks all
Steve,
the time.
He's brought a lot of joy to people who have watched him over the years on our broadcasts, and he's been a longtime analyst for us on volleyball, and brought a lot of joy to a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's time for us to give back and make sure that he and his family get to have a week of joy down there.
So we have the link in our live stream, and that'll take you to the GoFundMe account. We encourage you to give $5, $10, whatever you can. We're past $6,000 already, which is awesome. Just been a few days, and we're hoping to hit that goal and then send them to the holidays in style. Just because Josie came up with the idea, and we're going to help her make it happen. So we think that's awesome, and we salute you. And now we're going to talk football with you for just a second.
Oh, good.
Because this is
My
a
favorite
sports show.
subject.
Yes.
Aside from my family, of course.
You went to Utah State. Your husband, Nick, went to BYU, Idaho, which qualifies you to be on the Wise Guys. So thank Nick for being the olive branch here. The only natural question to ask is, how does Taysom Hill help strengthen your relationship?
He doesn't even know this.
Taysom doesn't know?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, he doesn't know this.
We're going to tell him.
It's funny. I do know his sister a little bit. She actually went to Utah State for, I don't know how long, if she graduated from here, but I met her in Logan, and she's amazing. But I joke because Nick and I met, and he was a complete, total all-in Cougar fan.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Sounds
crazy,
like a nice guy.
the crazy ones you hear about, right?
Wait, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
That's
no.
Those are all our friends.
yeah.
They are.
That's everybody watching this. That's everybody watching this show.
That's right.
Oh, shoot.
You're speaking their love language.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I worked on converting Nick to become an Aggie fan because we live in Logan, and if you live in Logan, you best be an Aggie fan. So, we would always have some like fun, friendly banter and, rivalry and whatnot. But Taysom Hill, we love him. We love watching him play. I mean, the nickname Swiss Army knife. I mean, he
Right.
is all of those things. And we love football at our house. It's our favorite thing that we all do together. Our kids all enjoy it. And when we'd watch Taysom play, I mean, even though as an Aggie fan, I was like, like he's pretty amazing. And I actually tried to surprise Nick myself and take him to New Orleans to a Saints game for his 40th birthday, and we got stuck in a hurricane, and it was a total disaster.
Wait, maybe Josie shouldn't be involved in the planning of this next trip.
You're out now.
That's what I was actually going to mention that.
Now you're out of the planning.
No. You get the
I'm done
money.
with the
Somebody else
planning.
needs to plan this thing.
Well, we're glad Taysom's helped. Just his presence on the planet has helped soften your position to where now I think you're a little more accepting of BYU football, which I think is fantastic.
I am a little bit more excited.
What about the fact, Josie? What about the fact that a former BYU coach is now Bronco Mendenhall going to be the Aggies head coach?
Yeah, you okay with that?
How are you
Oh
gonna
my
deal with
gosh,
that?
I'm totally stoked about that. I did mention to Dave that Bronco hopefully knows the Scotsman, because that's prerequisite if you're going to come into Logan and be a part of the sports. But we're really excited about that, and I think he can really help our program. And it obviously needed some reshaping.
It needed a lot of help. Let's just be honest. It needs a lot of help, and so you got a BYU guy going in there to try and put it back
we
together.
pointed out earlier in the show, Josie, that the head coach at Utah is a former BYU linebacker and graduate assistant coach. The new head coach at Utah State is a former BYU head coach. BYU's coach is a former BYU player.
We're just trying to help everyone out.
Like BYU, if we're going to get this thing right in this state, we're going to have to spread BYU all over the state to get it right.
I think spreading a little BYU around can do some good. It certainly has helped me, and it did strengthen my relationship with my husband for sure, because we're on the same page when it comes to Taysom Hill, at least.
Okay.
And Cougars are cute. I love Cougars, so that's another reason I love BYU.
That attitude's going to help us rock this GoFundMe.
Josie, Cougars aren't cute; they're fierce.
They're fierce. Once they grow up, they're trouble.
Yeah.
No, but the Sailor Cougar.
Yeah.
So you're talking about from a swag perspective.
Okay.
The logo's cute. Okay, I can deal with that.
The logo's cute.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, BYU in our house growing up was kind of like a swear word, but that being said, it has definitely, as I've grown older and whatnot, things change. Yeah, things definitely change. And I guess if you're a real football fan, you definitely have a real love for BYU, because so many amazing players have come out of the program, and I get obsessed with all of them, and it's so fun to watch. It's so fun to see where they've come from and to see them come. And at that point, then I consider BYU my territory, right?
That's a good save. That's a good save, Josie.
Okay.
Save the whole interview. Fantastic. All right, we're going to treat you like we treat everybody here on our show. Our 5 questions for Josie's presented by Strategy Square. Learn more at strategysquare.co. There's Chantal, picture of her. She runs strategysquare.co. It's great to the wise guys. And you saw that YouTube GoFundMe thing. We'll put that up again a little later. But that link is in the stream. Please go there and donate. Let's finish this thing off. But Blaine's got 5 questions for you. You ready?
Yes, let's do this. So now, Josie, the first thing that comes to your mind, you just answer it. It's just quick. This is how this goes. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So we're gonna start. Number 1. What's your favorite sports movie?
We Are Marshall.
Okay.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
you know what? I think she's the first one that's ever said that. That's a great movie.
Good football
So that's a
movie.
good one. Okay, but what's your favorite Christmas movie?
Oh, my favorite Christmas movie. 4 Christmases.
That's a good one.
That is good.
Who had that last week? Austin Collie.
Yeah,
had
Austin
that on his
Collie,
list.
the great wide receiver, is this for Christmas.
Our favorite scene is when they're on the roof trying to set up the satellite
Yeah,
dish.
we talked about a lot of good comedy ones. My favorite serious Christmas movie is White Christmas. I don't know why. It's just so nostalgic for me.
Like the 1950s version?
Yeah, because my mom and dad loved to watch it with Bing Crosby.
It was the black and white Christmas too, right? That was in black and white.
Was it in black and white?
I think so.
I think it's colorized now.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Your favorite Christmas song?
Let's see. Shoot,
There's like 1,000 of them.
Yeah.
I know, and then I can't think of the names.
Just start singing it.
Baby, please come home. Like
Please.
Lady A sings it. Let's see.
Oh.
Okay.
So
Do
this-
you want to
this
sing
is-
that for us for a minute?
You mean?
Oh, I cannot sing. I was
Hey,
not.
Jace, I know which one you're talking about. I like
Dave
Silent
can sing
Night.
it,
That's
yeah.
my favorite.
Silent Night's your favorite?
Yeah. When my daughter Courtney, who you know, plays Silent Night on the piano, that was always mine.
I love Grown Up Christmas List by Amy Grant.
Oh, that's a good one too.
I love that one. So
Okay, here's number 4.
Your favorite breakfast cereal. This is a really important one.
My favorite breakfast cereal.
Yeah.
Don't
I would
judge.
have-
Don't judge us. Just answer the question.
It's just yeah.
I like Life, Cinnamon Life.
Thank you. Yes, that's my favorite.
Cinnamon Life.
And cereal growing up in my family was like, it was a hot commodity. I had 4 other siblings, and I would hide it. I would hide like food, like when we get the good food, like good groceries, I would hide them because my brothers would eat it in a day.
Yeah.
It was gone.
Cinnamon Life.
That's how we
sometimes,
manage that.
Sometimes in my Cinnamon Life, I'll put some Frosted Flakes in there. Yeah. Just for some extra sugar.
When I had a paper route, I'd go buy my own Fruit Loops or Tricks, and so then I would manage my own box.
Yeah, from now on, I'm going to drive to Canada to get my Fruit Loops because evidently we have 19 ingredients down here that they don't have in Canada that are against the law up there. I'm like, really?
No kidding.
I probably poisoned myself my whole life. I love Fruit Loops. Yeah. So that's what's wrong with me.
I've heard that.
So, okay.
Number 5.
This is also very important. Your favorite sports moment of all times.
My favorite sports moment of all time. Oh gosh. Well, it wasn't my favorite. Shoot. I have so many emotional sports moments actually. When Dak, got injured, I cried. Watching Taysom Hill play, I mean, oh gosh, there's just so much joy in that. I don't know. I have so many great football moments. Maybe my favorite one would be my husband and I went to Seattle last fall, and we got Kirk Cousins' autograph. And my daughter's serving a mission in Michigan, and she already loved Kirk Cousins, and so she was excited when she got called to Michigan because Michigan State is where he played. Mm-hmm. So we happened to be in Seattle for my husband's work trip, and she was determined. She had on her Kirk Cousins jersey and took the Michigan State flag, and she got his autograph. And so that may not be like an in-game
No, that's a cool moment though.
memory.
And
then she got to meet Vi Sekahema when she was out on her mission. He actually called her out and her companion to do a practice teaching lesson. So, those are, I don't know.
Those
to
are
me,
good.
like, those are probably some of the most spiritual moments.
Yeah, Elder Sikahema. He's been on the show.
Yeah.
We've had Elder Sikahema on the show.
You know what? I can only dream of a day when my wife would say, "I have so many great football moments. I can't name them all."
Oh, my wife can say that.
Yeah, your wife can.
Yeah,
Mine cannot.
We've had 3 boys play Division I football, so they're all I think her favorite moment might have been when I went in the national championship game and we had a baby that year, and she got up from her seat and walked up and down the aisles of Qualcomm in San Diego in the Michigan game. People were like, "Why don't you sit down?" And she just told them, "Shut up, you sit down." She was very nervous, and she was making the baby cry. And then that baby started 3 seasons at free safety for BYU 21 years later.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, hey, look, we're glad you have all those great moments. I think that's great. We love what you're doing with the Vails and their family.
Yes.
We're happy to support it, and we'll do the best we can on our end and on Cougar Nation's end. And
thank you, Cougar Nation. Please don't be offended by. I mean, I was brainwashed. I'll just say that.
Hey, Dave sent
And
all
I
of
blame
his.
my dad.
All of Dave McCann's kids went to Utah State. Do you know that?
Yeah, that's
I heard
sometimes it
that.
happens.
And-
Sometimes it happens.
Yep. And there's no excuse for it. It just is what it is. That's all I
We
have to
got a
say.
perfectly good university right down the street
So-
from us, but they go up there.
Hey, you know,
That's
take-
okay.
Why is that? Were they?
My oldest started it,
running
and
from
she
something?
recruited the others.
They just wanted to do something their dad didn't do, and so they wanted to be different. And you know what? Utah State, Logan is a great place. It really is. So,
It is a great place.
so and by the way, I almost cried when Taysom got hurt again. When he
I
got that knee
know.
injury, like I felt bad for him because he's having another ridiculous year and he's getting kind of that age where it's hard to come back from injury. So I about cried.
And he was the tight end on my fantasy
you know,
team.
you can adopt Puka. He's great too.
Yeah,
Puka's
Puka's
fun
good.
to watch. He's great. You can adopt him. So
And look how great he is after coming back from being
yeah,
injured.
Yeah, he's doing good.
He's doing great.
Hey, thanks for joining the show. Have a Merry
Thanks so much, you
Christmas.
guys.
Give
Thanks,
Nick our
Josie.
best and to your family. And you're now part of the Wise Guys family. It's a
Oh,
big tent.
yes.
It's a big tent. And keep us posted on this project to send the Vails to Disneyland and have a wonderful Christmas together.
I will. And thank you so much. And thank you again on behalf of the Vail family. They're so grateful.
Well, congratulations to you for taking it up because you're a wonderful person and the world needs more of you. So nice job.
Well, I sure appreciate
And that's a
it.
nice Christmas sweater. Thanks for livening up the show.
That's right. Dave and I are just wearing
Yes.
our BYU gear, and we love that sweater.
You know, I thought about wearing some of my Colorado sweater, but then I thought BYU fans may not love that.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
it's the
that was
holidays. You don't need to wear a
You made a
Colorado
good
sweater.
choice tonight.
Come
you
on.
made a good choice.
We're trying to raise money.
I know. See, I made a good choice, right? Neutral.
Yes, it's good.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Josie.
much
We'll see
again.
ya.
You guys have a great night.
That's Josie Bishop live from Logan, Utah, right next door to the Vails. And, when she contacted us about trying to do something for them, it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? We got enough
absolutely.
people in the world that can do that, and contributions up over $6,000. We're halfway to the goal, so we're gonna keep pushing that through, and hopefully in the next few days we can get there.
Yes.
And then we can help them in a tough spot have a memory maker.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
We've all lost parents, and those last few weeks, months, however long it is, those are what we remember forever.
For sure.
So help us out, our audience on Wise Guys, and we'll try to, and hopefully Steve can hang on and call some more volleyball games. We don't know, but he's on the schedule for January.
I know.
And that's just next month. So that's what we got going on live from Logan, Utah tonight. Speaking of Puka, by the way, I thought it was great. Puka was so good the other day.
He was ridiculous.
And Cougar BYU stats man tweeted out today that Puka is now number 3 all-time in receiving yards by a BYU player in the NFL, just passing Golden Richards and Dennis Pitta over the weekend, and in just his second season. He's done it all in just 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Only Chad Lewis and Todd Christensen have more than he does, but at this rate, it's just a matter of time before Puka passes them too.
Yeah, knock on wood, keep him healthy.
Yeah.
He really, like, people on all of the shows, on all of the channels, were just going, did you see what Puka did today? Like the catch he made where it was kind of over behind his head, caught the ball, got both feet down.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
And they get him the ball in so many ways. He's in a great offense, but he is a gamer and a playmaker.
I'm pretty sure he blew Tom Brady's mind.
Yeah. So, and by the way, he plays this Thursday. So Puka and the Rams, they're at the 49ers. So it's Puka and Fred.
Fred's going to try to stop Puka.
It's not easy. It's not
He's
easy.
got to catch him first.
Yeah. So
Sunday
pretty cool stuff.
in the NFL, speaking of Cougars, Kyle Van Noy, who is coming off a bye week. The Ravens are at the Giants.
And then the Cowboys are at the Panthers. Brady Christensen still with the Panthers playing tackle.
Michael Davis and the Commanders at the Saints with Jamal Williams.
Yeah, the Bengals, Ryan Rico, who's having a good season. They're at the Titans this week.
The Chiefs with Kingsley Suamati, who's not playing a lot lately. Andy Reid, who's winning a lot lately. They're at
Andy's
the Browns.
winning, and not only that, like
they just won their division.
Yeah, they're
again.
like back-to-back. How many back-to-backs?
9.
Nine back-to-backs.
Remember, he was on the show in the summer, and they said, hey, we're going to try to win this. We're going to try to three-peat.
Yeah.
Win a 3rd straight Super Bowl. And here they are, I think, with 9, 10-1?
No, I think they're 11-1.
11-1. And they're just getting by. They won on a field goal that hit the post and bounced in.
They know how to win, though.
But they
know
win.
how to win these close ones. And he's on every commercial these days, and people are finally seeing the funny side of Andy.
Yeah. When we get him back on the show in the summer and he's won 3 straight Super Bowls,
that will
take our show to the next level.
Oh, yeah. Yep. He already took it to the next level after he won 2 Super Bowls and came up.
And he was just going.
Wait, how many did Steve? Well, how many did Steve win?
Not 3. He had some when he was with Joe Montana, but him winning, I think he beat the Chargers.
Yeah, that's true. Now, did he not have
I think
2?
that was his.
Who has the most Super Bowl rings?
Tom Holmoe.
Tom has the
4.
most. Yeah, Tom's got 4.
3 as a player, 1 as a coach.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Blake Freeland and the Colts are at the Broncos, and Zach Wilson's over there on the sideline.
Zach's going to go, he's going to get a gig someplace next year. I hope so. Patriots are at the Cardinals. Karis Tonga is playing well with the Cardinals.
The Packers with Zane Anderson and Chris Brooks, and those 2 guys do play. They're at the Seahawks Sunday night on NBC, and Jaron Hall will be over on the sideline.
And then, that's right, because Jaron was on the active, then on the practice squad. Now he got elevated back to the main roster. So Monday Night Football this week is Tyler Algier and the Falcons. They'll be at the Raiders.
Algier scored a touchdown on Sunday. Yep. All right, let's run through some campus notes. Women's hoops. BYU beat UTEP 81-68 in El Paso. Emma Calvert had a career-high 27. Tomorrow night, they're back home against Utah Valley. That's at 7 Mountain Time. Mm-hmm. And then they're at Washington State on Friday night at 7 Mountain. Both those games are on ESPN+.
Yeah, they got a new commitment from Sydney Bentley. Yeah, that's right, Bentley. ESPN top 100 rated player out of Albuquerque. She committed to BYU. 5'9" guard. Originally committed to Princeton, decommitted, and coming to BYU.
Everything I hear, this player is fantastic.
Yeah, this BYU team is young and crazy talented.
And Fusini Traore's sister is signed, and she's coming. I think she's 6'3".
Yeah, they're really good. The future is bright for BYU women's basketball, that's for sure.
Women's volleyball finished the season 19-10, got beat in the NCAA tournament by Loyola Chicago 3-0. Snaps 14 consecutive first-round victories for the team that's young and getting better. First-teamer Claire Little and Brielle Kemavor earned first-team All-Big 12. All-rookie team Alex Bauer and Ellie Mortensen. And so they'll be back next year, and they're going to be better.
Yep. And men's volleyball's coming up. I've picked out a few games that I'm going to go to in men's. Season opener is January 3rd through the 4th at Ohio State. Ohio State always good, one of the top teams. Their home opener will be January 10th and 11th. That's against St. Thomas Aquinas.
The notable opponents, they get Hawaii and Provo this year. First time in a long time.
Yeah.
USC, Stanford, and Pepperdine. And they're going to go on the road, play UCLA and Grand Canyon. Our friend and head coach Sean Olmstead's going to be on the Wise Guys on December 30th.
That's right.
Of the opener.
Love having Sean on. He's always great. Cross country, not a surprise. Ed Eystone and Diljit Taylor were both named Big 12 Coaches of the Year and as National Coaches of the Year after the Cougars swept the NCAA champions.
There's no more awards they could win. They have won them all.
Yeah.
That's great. That's
awesome.
And
we pointed this out last week. The last time a university swept the men's and women's national championships in cross country was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was University of Colorado. Who BYU plays in the Alamo Bowl. Yeah. So, they did it back then. And now we play them in the bowl. I think a little karma, we won the national championship. We will win the Alamo Bowl. That's the sign.
Before we tackle on this day and head down the home stretch, Neil's got a question. What is the chance that Isaac Wilson transfers to BYU?
Did we not talk about this, or were you and I talking about this before?
I can't remember, but let's hit it up again.
Yeah, let's hit it once more. So here's the thing. If you're Isaac and you're in the transfer portal, you're looking for a place where you just played a bunch of games. Now you want to go play, right? And so Jake Retzlaff's the quarterback next year. He played at a high level, and he's going to get even better. And when BYU's really good, it's when you have a second-year starter in that program running it. And he's got a bunch of wide receivers coming back this next year. Lots of weapons. They've got enough of a core of offensive linemen back. They're going to get some in the transfer portal, and they're going to sign some. I think this offense is going to go to another level with Jake Retzlaff. So he's not going to be the starter next year. And I would think that Isaac would be looking for a place where they're going to go, yeah, we need a quarterback right now. Our guy just graduated. We're looking for a transfer guy to come in and be our guy. If he wanted to wait around, he could go up to the University of Utah. Word is that Jason Beck is bringing his New Mexico quarterback, who's very good.
Yeah, at least he's going to try to.
Right.
Yeah.
Try to get him. He's in the transfer portal. Bring him to the University of Utah. He knows the offense. He's well-versed in the offense. So it'd be hard for Isaac, as talented as he is, to get that job when Jason's likely bringing his own guy. That's kind of the story behind the story.
And it feels like they're done with Isaac up there. Fans are funny. We see it down here, too. They just go, nah. Programs are that way, too. They'll spit guys out that were maybe going to be really good, but some didn't make it through their freshman year. Ben Olsen didn't make it through his freshman year here. Think about Jake Heaps. Jake Heaps made it through his freshman year, struggled his sophomore year. Everyone's done with him. It just happens. And I don't think we're going to see Isaac down here.
I hate that freshmen have to play.
Yeah.
At that position, I should say.
The margin for error.
Yeah. And you can get ruined as a freshman.
Yeah.
But I thought he played pretty well there, for a couple games. But let's face it, they weren't good on offense. Period. It wasn't Isaac Wilson's fault they weren't good on offense. They just weren't good on offense. Period.
And they weren't going to be good on offense with Cam Rising.
They
either.
were not.
It was just a bad season for them, and they got 17 kids in the portal already. It's going to be an interesting year. And Kyle Whittingham said this week he's coming back for another year. We thought maybe he might hang it up. So we do know the Utes are coming down here next season.
Right.
And BYU will get them at LaVelle Edwards Stadium, which will be a lot of fun.
It'll be great. So
on this day, December 9th, should we roll out?
Let's do this.
We've had an awesome show tonight.
1926, the United States Golf Association legalizes steel shaft golf clubs.
Where would we be without those?
Well, your hands would go ding when you hit with a wood shaft, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and today's technology is amazing.
Like, here's the thing. A driver is now graphite shaft and a steel head, or no, not even that, a composite head made out of like a trampoline surface, when it used to be a wooden head with a wooden shaft and a grip.
That's old school.
And those guys could still shoot even par.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Bobby Jones, that time, man, amazing.
1935, on this day, the first Heisman Trophy Award was given to Jay Berwanger, a running back from Chicago.
That's right. 1949, NFL merges with the AFL.
That's big.
Yeah.
On this day in 1965, a Charlie Brown Christmas premieres on CBS. It was the first Peanuts animated feature. Watch it several times every December.
Yep.
It's so good. I just love it.
1982.
I'm surprised every year at the finish.
Yeah, you're surprised. Hey, Michael Zimmerman. It's Michael's wife's birthday today, so we're going to shout out to Michael Zimmerman's wife.
Happy birthday.
But yeah, like, you should have given her name, Michael, so we could actually recognize her, not just say, hey, Michael Zimmerman's wife. She deserves first place in this one. So where were we? Oh, yeah, we're back in 1982. The World Boxing Council reduces championship fights from 15 to 12 rounds and institutes a standing 8 count for fighters in trouble.
Yeah, changed boxing. That changed boxing.
Absolutely.
1984, Eric Dickerson sets the NFL rushing record with 2,105 yards. That's the season
Is
record.
Saquon Barkley going to break the record? Not that one, but the new one?
He just broke the Eagles single season record.
Yeah, he is.
So now he's cruising.
Yeah, he is something.
Logandale, Nevada. Good to have you guys on the stream.
Yes.
Tonight.
So, 1985, Jerry Rice begins a streak of 274 consecutive games with at least one reception.
That's amazing when you think all the professionals that worked all week to try to not let that happen.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, by the way, Michael Zimmerman's wife is Tammy. Happy
Tammy.
birthday to Tammy.
1987, on this day, Larry Bird's streak of making 59 consecutive free throws ends. Must have just rimmed out.
59 consecutive, huh? Remember Jimmer told us that he made 100 and he said he wouldn't leave until he missed one. Then once he missed one, he would make another one. And one time he did like 150 something.
Yeah, but he wasn't in the gym.
It wasn't in a game.
With fans screaming at him.
Right, true. 2017, Star Wars: The Last Jedi premiered in Los Angeles.
I remember that.
Yeah, I do too.
It wasn't that long ago. It was kind of cool. Forney, Texas is in the stream tonight. Good to see you guys. How about this on this day in 2018? Aaron Rodgers breaks Tom Brady's NFL record with 359 straight passes without an interception. And then also on this day.
That's right. Tom Brady breaks Peyton Manning's NFL record for most touchdown passes, 582.
On the same day in 2018.
Yep. That's wild.
Which was today.
Yeah.
And then on this day in 2023, Shohei Ohtani signs a North America Pro Sports Records 10-year, $700 million deal with the Dodgers. Helped LA win the World Series this year. And then just the other night, Juan Soto broke that record and now has the richest sports contract in North America.
Shohei is like wow, what can't he do?
I don't know.
He can pitch, he can field, he can hit, he can do it all.
Soto went to the Mets. So, he's getting more than this dude.
I can't believe it.
Crazy.
$700 million. December 9th, birthdays. Let's go there. 1916, Kirk Douglas.
1922, Red Fox. Fred Sanford from Sanford and Son.
He goes, that's Fred G. Sanford. The G stands for great.
That's so funny.
So, 1934, Judi Dench. Yeah, it's M.
Yeah.
Yeah, M from all of the James Bond
She
movies.
did a nice job in that.
Yeah, she's great.
1942, Dick Butkus was born on this day.
Yeah, one of the greatest defenders ever. 1957, Donny Osmond. Our good friend Donny Osmond.
He tweeted out his birthday thing today, and I tweeted back, somebody's getting a birthday shout out on the Wise Guys tonight.
That's right.
And that's him. And our Wise Guys inspirational quote of the week is from Donny Osmond, who said,
if you're climbing the ladder of life, you go rung by rung, one step at a time. Don't look too far up. Set your goals high, but take one step at a time. Sometimes you don't think you're progressing until you step back and see how high you've really gone.
That might explain also how he does his show in Vegas, because you can't go out and sing the last song first, right?
Right.
You go 2
One song at
hours,
a
you go
time.
one at a time.
It's great. He's still selling out shows every night down in Las Vegas. What a phenomenal entertainer, and he has been since he's a little boy.
So much so that we're going to do a Donnie bonus quote.
Yeah, there you go.
First time ever in Wise Guys history.
So Donnie said, I was never considered cool throughout my teens. I think he was cool as a teen, by the way. So he's saying, I was never considered cool throughout my teens. A very important time to be accepted by someone, especially your peers. Yes, I had all the screaming women, but the guys hated my guts.
That's Donny Osmond right there.
We got to get Donnie to come on the show.
Let's do it.
He's always busy down in Vegas, but it would be fun to have Donnie. Marie's been on, and it was so fun to have Marie on. I wonder if we get Donnie and Marie to come on together. That'd be really fun.
Do you think we could get them to sing together?
Oh,
while they're sitting there?
That'd be so fun.
Yeah. Let's try
May
that. Let's shoot that.
tomorrow be a perfect day.
Let's try to get them to do that.
That's the one they got to sing. Do you remember that one at the end of their show together?
All of America remembers that.
So
And next week, Brandon Demin is going to be here with the keys to beat Colorado in the Alamo Bowl. And then later this month, Jeff Hansen, recruiting guru.
Yep.
Jonathan Tavanari, Sean Olmstead, Amber Whiting. In the next few weeks, will be right here on the Wise Guys. We thank Travis Hansen and Josie Bishop. Two great human beings on the show tonight.
Hey, don't forget, it's Christmas time, right?
Yes.
So C is for Cougar. That's the book you need to buy for Christmas. It's the world's first BYU football alphabet book, written by yours truly right here. Not me, yours truly. His truly right there. I don't even know how I would say that. Dave wrote this book. It sits right on my desk.
I'm his truly right now.
You're my truly. I thumb through it all the time. It brings back great memories. You can order your book for Christmas at DeseretBook.com or stop by a Deseret Bookstore and pick one up.
It's like $14, so it's a great stocking stuffer.
Yep. So
hey, here's where you can find us this week. You know how like Leno and those guys will say, "Hey, I'm performing in Atlantic City this week." This is what we do.
So
now.
Wednesday night, you can find Dave and I on ESPN Plus. We'll be calling the BYU Fresno State basketball game from the Marriott Center, 7 p.m. Mountain Time.
On Thursday, I'm on Sports Nation at 10.
Who you hosting with Thursday?
I don't know. It's like whoever didn't sleep in that day.
Okay, good.
That's on BYU TV, and then I've got articles in the Deseret News all week, including one today on remembering the Alamo. But I said I have a line in there that says they shouldn't go and scream "Remember the Alamo." They should scream "Remember the Independence Bowl" and all those B-League bowls that we've gone to since the days of independence, and even the backside of the Mountain West. Now we're in the big time in the Alamo Bowl.
It's time to be grateful, right? It's not, Thanksgiving is gone, but isn't the whole time from Thanksgiving to Christmas time to be grateful?
It's a holiday season.
Yeah, so it's time to be grateful. We're grateful BYU's in the Big 12 and they're playing in a big time bowl, and that they had a 10-2 regular season. Unbelievable.
And we're so grateful for Brady Plus and for the Deseret News. Brady Plus is our sponsor, and we're distributed by the Deseret News to the free world. And so we're grateful for them. I can't believe we're marching right to the middle of December, but here we are, and there's a lot of exciting things going on. And hey, AJ Dybantsa tomorrow morning at 8:30 Mountain Time. Will he pick BYU or will he not?
Travis Hansen says he thinks BYU.
Yeah.
I agree. I think it'll be BYU. How fun will that be? We'll talk about it next week.
We're going to have a super show next week.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.